everyone. Welcome to Dog Happy, where we create happier, healthier dogs, one interview at a time. I'm Missy. Joining us today is Shelley Ross, author of Scruffy, an adorable book about the pandemic and our pooches. Miss Ross is a 3-time Emmy Award-winning broadcast news producer and network executive, and she is also the president of the Cure Alliance. Welcome, Shelley. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good.
That's great. So tell me, there is a lot of floof in this book. How did you come up with the idea for this?
Well, I had a friend who posted a picture of her own pandemic haircut with her dog, and this tail looked like it was run over by a lawnmower. And I thought, my goodness, this must be happening all over the world. So I started to research pandemic haircuts for dogs all over the world. And it was the time of the lockdown where the groomers were in lockdown as well. So people got out their YouTube videos and ordered clippers and razors from Amazon online. And I looked at all these pictures and I discovered this phenomenon of people sort of saving the dog clippings, trying their best, and so proud of their work that they took what I call the floof, which is an English slang for fluff. A floofy dog is a fluffy dog. And they took the floof, which I have sort of given a different definition to, and they made artwork out of it. And they made shapes of hearts, and they made miniature copies of their own dog.
So
one
creative.
one Cocker Spaniel, the floof was spelled out the word help.
I saw that in the book. It's so cute. Yeah, our viewers will see that when we go through the book. It was amazing. Yeah, so creative.
On that page, as my own little surprise, my own little private joke I'll let you in on, the background looks like just a pattern design. It's actually Morse code that said, Mayday, Mayday, my humans are coming at me with the scissors.
Oh, that's so funny. That is so funny. I really can't believe how well these pet parents did with if it was their first time cutting hair. We've had English Springer Spaniels, and learning to groom them was quite challenging. And I had the groomer there showing me what to do. So I can't imagine how stressful it was during the pandemic to even take those clippers out.
I think it showed great courage.
Oh, yes.
There's one doggy, a doodle, Hootie, and the only picture of Hootie that we have is with a big blue bandage around its paw because his parents had a nail clip fail.
Oh,
And the
goodness.
pictures that I didn't show, it looked like a crime scene.
It
And
does.
I do the book in the voice of the dog, and I wrote, it hurt them more than it hurt me, which
Yeah.
I'm sure it did.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, toenails, they bleed terribly. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. The parents were probably devastated too. Oh,
Oh,
my
it
goodness.
it really looked like a crime scene.
And now, did you take out the clippers for your own dog?
I did not. Um, that Scout, our Polish Lowland sheepdog, about 2 years ago, slipped off the curb and caught her nail and tore a nail off. And and I know how they bleed. We went to an emergency room, but we carried her upstairs, and there was blood spatter. I mean, from the lobby, it looked like a murder scene, all through the elevator and down
Oh,
the hallway until we I put first aid, administer first aid, and wrapped it and compressed it. Then we took her to an emergency room. I wouldn't go near those little toenails. She does happen to, when she walks on pavement, naturally file them down a little bit. But I will have figure out a way. We're still sheltering in, but we have a vet appointment with her, and vet appointments are so interesting now because we stay in the car, they come
Right.
out and just get the dog, and we talk to we FaceTime with the vet. We don't go in there, but I will ask the vet if they can trim her nails.
Yeah, I think honestly, out of everything that we have to do with our dogs, nail trims are the hardest. I worked for a veterinarian, and when I was in high school, and I had a dachshund come in, and the nail was so long it had curved. So,
Oh no.
so I thought, oh, I could just slide the clippers on, and then they got stuck, and the dachshund was, I mean, hadn't even cut the nail, and the
Yeah.
dachshund is screaming. So my sister takes care of all the nail trims now. She's got it down, or we pay the veterinarian to do it for us. But
Yes.
yeah, those are
I'm
definitely
not brave enough to do that. But I think our dogs have been so important during the pandemic. I now say every dog is now a therapy dog. And the bonding is so intense, and we're so much more aware of how they feel every day and their moods, even though they're joyful creatures. They're
right.
born that way. And I'm so worried. I know when she's scratching a spot or where she has a hot spot on her skin. And we just are so more in tune with making them comfortable. And certainly dogs with a lot of flu match so easily.
Yeah.
I discovered you know, a, a spray, sort of a conditioning spray, and I try and spray our dog lightly just to keep it from matting, because matting is so uncomfortable for them. And you'll see a dog named Tykel in the book, and Tykel is a sweet girl from Canada, and her dad she had curly long hair, and he had no choice but to really shave her down because she was that matted, and their skin breaks down. It's very hard on their skin when they're matched close to the skin.
Oh my gosh,
So
yes.
so I think poor Tykel and Tykel's dad, I mean, when you turn to that page in the book, it's a jaw drop, the before and after. And it's very much also like Augie May from Denver that you have.
Yeah, with the head. I mean, you have this big floofy dog in the chair, and then he's just a head at the end. Yeah, he was an amazing transformation.
Right? You see, um, they look these big sheepadoodles, look like they're giant dogs. And then when you shave them, and they get rid of all that hair, there's a skinny little body underneath.
Right, right.
And
That's
if you
what.
keep the hair on the head, it looks like a skinny little body with a lion's head.
Right. That's why I was surprised there weren't very many lion cuts in there. You know how you do with cats? They leave the head and then
Yeah,
they leave the paws and the tail. I bet you we're probably seeing more now with Halloween coming up. People will just trim them.
yeah, yes.
So,
Well, the wackiest to me was Henry. Henry and his sister, Kaylin. Uh, they're really a fun family. They're, large, fluffy dogs, and they all live in it and travel around the country in an RV,
oh
and
wow.
they really have a lot of fun. And you could see they're a fun family because when it came time to take care of Henry, either Henry was fussy or they just stopped where the mats were. But Henry is shaved basically from the neck to the waist. And so the front half of the dog. And Henry looks like he's wearing pants, work pants that like are down low on the hip.
Oh
And it's
wow.
hilarious.
I bet. I bet that it's just amazing how much stuff like that brings us joy. I mean, dogs bring us joy in and of themselves, and then you do something silly like that, and it's just amazing how much more fun it is, and it's just great.
It's not only it's heartwarming to see. Even that took time and care. It wasn't just a random act. It was a decision, and I really want to talk to them more and ask them: is it that you just stopped because he didn't like it, he was fussy, or did you stop because he didn't need? He wasn't matted. He was only maybe matted on his chest, and thought a decision was made with love and care and family. And every dog, um, everybody tried their best, and you can see what went into it. Every picture tells a volume of a story. I don't have any humans. Oh, I have a couple humans only because they were in the act of doing the cut. But it's all about the dog, and it's like hearing a song. I can imagine everything else that was going on around them. Even though I'm looking at one picture or hearing one lyric, I have in my own mind a story of what that household was like.
Oh, I don't doubt it. Those pictures, the dog's expression, the befores and afters. Yeah, this pandemic has really taken us back to a place that we probably never have been as a society, which is, at home with our families almost 24/7, nowhere to go, only together time. And you really see a lot of people adopting pets during this time. You have these old dogs that maybe you didn't notice these issues they were having with their health, but now we're home with them more. And then to see the Scruffy, where you see the expressions, you just can imagine, you absolutely can imagine. The dogs were like, what is going on here? You could go back to work anytime, mom and dad.
But they really want us home. These dogs have never been so happy, so spoiled. They're not left alone. They won endless games of fetch. Throwing the ball down the shortest hallway makes them happy. They won belly rubs on demand. My dog, which is a fairly independent breed, she's a watchdog. The Polish Lowland Sheepdog were bred to wrangle sheep and herd sheep, and so she's always been more comfortable staying across from us in the room to watch us. Or even when she was younger, she used to push us together, try to push
Heard
us,
you.
herding us in the kitchen.
Nice.
So she's always been a little bit aloof. She's not been a lap dog, but during the pandemic, Scout and I spoon at night. I get down
Oh,
on the floor and we spoon, and it's something we've never done before, and it's been amazing.
it is amazing because Scout's older too, right? She's
Scout is
13 now.
13.
Yeah. So this is time that you might have missed those moments. It's the pandemic has
Bonus.
brought about some nice things.
Yes.
Yeah. What is the Cure Alliance? Can you tell us a little bit more about
Yes,
that?
the Cure Alliance is a nonprofit organization of about 200 scientists from around the world. It was founded by the foremost diabetes researcher in the world, Dr. Camillo Ricordi, who realized that we have to be more involved in knowledge sharing. We really haven't cured diseases in the 21st century, or even in the last half of the 20th century. And there are many reasons and many barriers. And the obvious barrier that doesn't require going through the court system and changing patent law and changing a lot of things, which we have done. Um, the easiest thing is to share knowledge. You know, scientists used to be very competitive. You see it now in the pandemic. We've been sharing knowledge across all disciplines for 10 years now. The Cure Alliance is 10 years old. And they discovered that uh, all most modern diseases are immune system based. So if you're working on lupus and or arthritis or even cancer, you can benefit with sharing knowledge with diabetes, which is a known immune system disorder. So they've been literally, the scientists I know were Skyping long before my media friends were. It was amazing. They were Skyping into 2009. They were Skyping into each other's operating rooms.
Oh, wow.
And you know, they were far advanced. Um, so that's what the Cure Alliance does. And we have influenced certain, we're very uh, oriented to regenerative medicine and use of stem cells. And what happened was the first, uh, Dr. Camilla Ricordi is based in Miami at the Diabetes Research Institute, but he's from Italy and he's actually on, there's a board that's like the Supreme Court of doctors and scientists in you know, that level. And he is on that board of top scientists in Italy still. And when the pandemic hit there really badly, he watched the shutdown. He, you know, he was in touch with all of the top scientists and knew what was coming here, was very keyed up. And even though he had pledged to, you know, runs the Diabetes Research Institute, early on, he pledged to pivot 24/7 all of his knowledge to COVID research. And within days, the entire membership of the Cure Alliance pivoted 24/7 to COVID research. By the first week in April, they had convened a mini Manhattan Project for COVID research. And they came up with a theory that umbilical cord derived mesenchymal stem cells could help repair the damage, the lung damage found in the most severe cases of COVID-19. So they put a 150 page proposal together to the FDA. In less than a week, they got authorization for clinical trials. And
Wow.
here's the interesting part, why knowledge sharing is so important. Camillo Ricordi had been using the umbilical cord, shorthand UC-MSCs, for in research to repair the damage to the pancreas. And it's a simple, you know, they get the umbilical cords through donated umbilical cords in C-sections, so they're sterile. And one umbilical cord can provide enough medicine for 1,000 people.
Oh, wow. And
So
so,
it's so he had been using uh, a therapeutic umbilical cord. It's made into it's a liquid, saline sterile solution, and it's administered IV. And this uh, he learned in working with the pancreas and diabetes that the UC-MSCs naturally migrated to the lungs. So for the past 3 years prior to the pandemic, he had been trying to jerry-rig scaffolding to direct internally the UC-MSCs to the pancreas and having a hell of a time. But he was doing it, and that was his research. So when he saw that people were dying from this severe lung damage, he knew UCMSCs, they want to go there.
they want to
They
go there.
want to go there naturally. You put the IV in and boom, they go right to the lung.
Wow.
And so he got together critical care experts, pulmonary experts, all the people and this team, and we then had to raise money. This was all happening the first week in April.
Oh, wow.
The FDA was making their decision. It was April 2nd. My friend posted this picture of her dog's tail that looked like it was run over. And I thought, if this is happening all over the world, and I bet it is, this book at that time, we did raise at the time through friends and family, we raised nearly $5 million for the clinical trials. Everybody thinks that the government just writes a check. They don't. And if my scientists choose not to be affiliated with any pharmaceutical company, because then you run into conflicts of interest, it's only trouble.
Right.
So we are 100% donor funded.
Oh, wow.
And we also turn down investors because my scientists are like Sabin and Jonas Salk. They think this whatever they find should be free or at cost to the public. They don't want an investor who's there to make a profit, right? This has to be just because they want to save lives in the worst global pandemic of our century. So we, at this point, the struggles of fundraising and
Right.
the struggles. Our scientists are well known enough that they do know people who can back them. But as the phase moves on to production and distribution, we're going to be, more on our own. And I thought, anyway, I always supplement with my own fundraising. And I thought I was being hit up for very good causes. First of all the political, um, and I can tell myself I'm not doing any political donations because I have my cause. I
Right.
have my commitment to the Cure Alliance.
So the Cure Alliance was mostly working towards a cure for type 1 diabetes. And then,
The Cure Alliance was working for a cure for type 1 and type 2 diabetes and all modern diseases. The
oh,
200 scientists we have from around the world are working on pancreatic cancer, brain cancer, different disciplines, different diseases, lupus, everything that has no cure. Uh,
is this with using stem cells specifically
no,
in
everybody's
ever
working
different
on
methods?
it. Everybody's working on it. We have a lot of members who are working on regenerative medicine, which is using um, cell products, and we've been using stem cells for a long time. in bone marrow transplants that save
Right.
people's lives. That those are stem cells
Oh, okay.
that are taken from blood. That
Right.
regenerative medicine, you have a part of the stem cell that's in your fat, it's in your skin, it's in your blood, and we're learning how to, it's in its infancy, but we're learning how to use it to regenerate good health. People are growing, you know, stem cell can be coaxed to become anything. So it can repair. Stem cells are being used to with burn victims
Right.
and a lot of things, and that's regenerative medicine, regenerating what you were born with.
Yeah.
And but we have doctors working on cancer. We have one board member who's working, was working with curing pancreatic cancer with RNA interference,
Yeah.
which is something completely not stem cell related at all.
Right.
Um, and then he's also working with, now that we have supercomputers,
I know.
a lot of doctors are, and they're doing the same thing with for COVID now. A lot of doctors with cancer have been working with, um, instead of trying to get a new drug through the long, process with 14 years and $8 billion to do all the
Right.
testing, they're using supercomputers to see existing drugs in certain combinations if they will attack certain tumors, cancerous tumors. And I know, one scientist who, after a year running data through a supercomputer, has come up with 3 existing drugs, well-known drugs. One is metformin, another
Right.
is a drug used for high blood pressure uh, and cholesterol. Another, is used, it's a harsher drug used for kidney failure. And a certain combination is putting, stage 4 cancer patients in remission.
Wow. That's
But
really exciting.
there's a lot that was going on. Every single member is working on an incredible cure in the lab. And our mission, the number one goal has been to accelerate the process of moving their research in the lab to the patient's bedside.
Yeah, well, I think this time in our culture with the internet, the access that, like you said, to supercomputers, data can be shared so quickly. You can look back at different data. It really makes a huge difference. And honestly, it's like where you had that connection between seeing pictures of people doing these crazy haircuts to their pets at the same time the scientists in your organization were deciding to pivot, and you make that kind of connection.
I
You know,
looked at, yes, exactly. But I looked at it as I needed to raise funds. And then I thought I will use, if there are enough crazy pandemic haircuts for a book, I will use this book as, because it's related to the pandemic and the lockdown. It's related to COVID. I
right?
will use this book to raise money for COVID. And I did my initial research, and then I just went to work. Uh, I saw that first picture on April 2nd. We got the clinical trials for the UCNSC's authorized, and we announced that for the Cure Alliance on April 9th.
Wow.
And I was already working on the fundraiser. And so everybody, as soon as I was contacting people around the world blindly. Can I use this? Will you sign this photo release? Will you send me a high res picture? It wasn't just clip and paste off of, Instagram.
Right.
And do you have any friends in the same, and really reaching out. And I have dogs, favorite Mango from Uruguay. Oh
Right.
my. And I talked to these people and I found out incredible things that were happening in other countries. In Montevideo, uh, they had, when COVID first came to them.
Do you want me to pull it up? Are you talking about the socialite story?
Yeah, you
Let
can.
me, yeah, let me
Okay.
grab the book and we'll go right there. I think, yeah, I was so surprised.
There's Mango before.
I know. Look at that little face. You can't even see. Is it a girl or a boy?
You know what? I'm not sure. I think it's a
Sorry.
boy.
Oops. Sorry. And then
Yes.
where is our next photo? Look at that face that was hidden under all that hair.
Who knew?
Yeah, but when I read this story, what it says is our country, Uruguay, has had excellent COVID-19 intervention. Half of our cases were traced to one socialite who had flown in from Spain to attend a wedding with 500 guests on March 7th. 44 humans were infected that day. I'm so proud of our tracing. 44 people from
Yeah.
one person.
Yeah,
That
at one wedding.
Right. You just have to respect COVID. It is just so fast moving.
Yes, yes.
So fast moving. So let me go back up to the beginning and we can take a quick look through here. Um,
About the flu.
yes. Look at this one. How creative. Not only did you clip your dog, but now you've made a dog out of it. Who thinks like that? It's just so amazing. I love seeing that. It's
This was
beautiful.
my favorite piece of art my favorite photograph of the floof. And that's when it registered the pride that people were taking in their home grooming project, the do-it-yourself home grooming of their dogs. And to set up that picture with the scissors and the razor, and it's just adorable. And this was from Kent, um,
In the
in the United
UK.
Kingdom.
Yeah.
Everybody knew somebody down the street,
Right.
and this was just all over the world. It was floof.
It
I
is.
almost called the book floof. Charlie and Luna. They are such, I had so many cute pictures of them. I can't tell you, it was, I should just do a book of outtakes.
Right.
These are
Curating. How do you
two,
choose? Yeah.
two adorable dogs.
Look at those
And
smiles.
yeah, and their humans uh, put their floof together. Now, Chipper and Holly.
Oh my
Oh
goodness.
my goodness.
I know. Watch this, ladies and gentlemen. Woo!
This is Kipper and Holly
This is
in
before
the
COVID
pandemic.
and
They were,
then
and
pandemic.
Kipper, yes, Kipper was so matted. Holly is the girl, it's his sister, and he calls her the hot redhead. Um, Holly doesn't get matted, but he, maybe because he's a boy and or his coat, it looks a little bit coarser.
Yeah.
Chipper was completely matted, and their parents, Holly got away with just a little butt trim, and Chipper had to get cut way down, and you can see his little face. He looks
I
a little
know.
embarrassed.
I know. He looks so adorable though, but I mean, look how they did not do a very bad job at all.
No,
This
this
is
is from the
pre-COVID
groomer.
grooming, right? Yeah.
Yes.
That is just so funny. It's like all of us before we were able to go back to the hairdresser, right? Our hair looked
And
exactly, and then boom.
yes, and I will tell you, I keep up with all our Scruffy dogs. I call them our
Oh,
Scruffy ambassadors. And
absolutely.
on Instagram, and where there is an Instagram account, I put it up. But Chipper and Holly are they're being trained together. I call them doggos now.
Yeah.
Doggos is the hip word for doggy.
So remind me who was the
Go
uh
back to oatmeal. Oatmeal is really funny.
I
Look at
love
poor
that
oatmeal.
his mohawk. It's adorable. And then his little ear, does he stick out like that all the time? How
I
charming.
don't know. I think he just the haircut. It's like what? But it says he says for the first time ever, my dad gave me a haircut. It went about exactly how you would have expected.
Of course. I mean, why wouldn't you leave your a mohawk on your dog? That is so wonderful. Where is
Oatmeal.
the doodle that the
Oh,
sheepdog?
yes.
Is he
Uh,
up or below?
uh,
Here, I'll
I
pop
think
through real
he,
quick.
yeah.
Oh no, he's a
No,
little
he's
bit
fine.
farther
He's
down.
passed.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, I just want to, here
There we
we go.
go.
Augie
Oh,
May.
Augie May is a sheepadoodle who literally sits in a family chair like a person, and we feel that they are family members. They're when a dog sits in a chair like a person, I think he it's recommended that he be given full equality in the
that's
family.
that's the way my dogs feel, and all they do
Yeah.
is sit on my bed. Oh,
Oh no.
look at
This
that!
this
What
is
a
the
dramatic change.
only time I repeated a picture, because you wouldn't have believed that that's the same dog,
I
unless you
know
could really see his little eyes, and it's the dog. They did a really good job,
they did.
think, on the head. Though it's a
Just
little,
overall,
and the rest is shaved fairly closely. It has a beautiful little body underneath that hair, that sort of like to see an actual dog, see their muscles, and I find beauty in it. Although I admit it is a giggle.
yeah. Well, they do kind of look a little bit naked until their hair grows back in.
Oh, look at this! Is one of my favorite floof.
That she the fact that she was, or he or she was able to get their dog to lay like that and then be able to take a picture, that is so cute. So
Well,
cute.
the dog is so funny because the dog had two haircuts and says, the woman, meaning the mommy, the woman was obsessed. And so the picture on the left is the first haircut, and then, or I think that's the second. No, that's the second. The picture, they cut the dog's hair. Then she made me lay down and pretend I was asleep for the photo, which is
It's
so funny.
wonderful. It is.
So Bogey the dude for Doodle lay down, and that looks like a complete twin, like the second dog in the litter, the floof. And then poor Bogey the dude got up again, and she cut him some more.
You gotta even that stuff out, right? My
Yeah.
favorite is the three that are where, oh, there's your help. There's your, so where
Oh
would we
yeah.
find the Morse code?
I went online and I put
Oh,
in
this, the green.
the
This.
green is
The,
Morse
oh.
code that says uh, Mayday. This is Crosby the Cocker. My groomer is in lockdown in a in some place called lockdown, and Mom is coming at me with the scissors.
How creative. That is so, so fantastic. Yeah, I wouldn't, if I knew Morse code, maybe I would have recognized it. I just thought it was a pretty pattern. That is so cute and help is
Yeah.
absolutely what our dogs feel like. The next one, these three, those
Oh
little
my
robes. Oh my
God.
goodness. Oh my goodness.
These are crazy. And their owners are so fabulous. They design these robes. Kaboom, Sky Fancy, and Breeze have two dads, and who look at in Philadelphia, who looked after these so beautifully. Kaboom is a boy, the other two are girls. Kaboom is in the green robe, and they hated to be groomed. They hated the hair dryer after they were home groomed. So they designed robes. So terry cloth or fiber robes. Now they opened their pandemic aha moment was they've opened up a doggy boutique in
Oh wow.
Philadelphia called, I think, let me see,
Fancy Kaboom Pautique.
yes. And so Fancy Kaboom, and I send everybody, they have big hearts, they love dogs. Breeze in the yellow robe,
Wonderful.
and if you go to their website, it's just it's they have Louis Vuitton raincoats and really fun things, high fashion items for doggies, and I think this robe is just fantastic.
It is amazing. When I flipped through the book, this is the picture that I got caught on because it is just amazing. And I will say, so this book, we have just a few pages of it, but the actual book itself is what, 196 pages?
Yes,
It's a beautiful, so you've got it right behind you. So it's actually not too bad. I mean, it's like a perfect gift size, especially for anybody who loves dogs.
it's a coffee table book, but it's not too huge. It has a wonderful, I worked very hard. As you can see, I'm big into color. The
Yeah.
palette is a lovely palette. And I even have I thought this is an unretouched, um, well, it had a little touching for the private area because
Yeah.
Ash is a boy on the cover.
Oh.
So, but it was on a brown, I thought a brown book. It's, I don't want people to think it's like, some black and white photo book. So I made sure that the spine was a, a bright color and the back is a navy blue,
Yeah, it's
um,
beautiful.
with cover quotes from Robin Roberts and David Blaine.
I saw
But
that.
the one thing that I think makes it it's more than crazy haircut book, crazy pandemic book, is you do get a lot of crazy haircuts and a lot of funny stories, but I mean this is a Pablo Escobar, and
He's so cute.
he's so cute. He's in a bathtub in Hong Kong.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, in the Murray Hotel. So we thought it was funny that Pablo Escobar was hiding out.
You know, there are some dogs who get in willingly and some dogs who look like they can't get out even if they wanted to. And then you have
And
at the back of the book,
I was
actually,
gonna, yeah,
you're
I
going
was
to
gonna
show
say that
everybody? That's great.
the reason I think there's a little section for people who want to read about the Cure Alliance. And what I realized was hearing these stories, I really thought I have a 100-year-old mother-in-law who lives in London.
Wow.
When I first met her, all I wanted to do was, she's a teenager during the London bombing of World War II. And all I wanted to do was debrief her. What was it like? What was it like? Tell me all the details. And to this day, I still ask her. And the stories are stories you won't read in any history book of what life is really like. One little short example is she was one of 5 sisters, and the air raid sirens would go off, and they'd all hold hands and run to the subway, the tube station, which were the air raid shelters. And she was running with one of her sisters, and she wasn't too far from the house, but she was running, and she went, "Oh my God, we forgot our lipstick." And they ran back, they got their lipstick and got safely to the tube. But that's what being a teenager is, was during the London bombing in
Right.
World War II. Run back because you may see a cute
Cute
guy,
boy.
right? A cute 15-year-old not going to be drafted. So I just thought everybody has those pandemic stories, and everybody, I just thought we don't want to lose them. We want to pass them down. So I have a COVID journal. So for yourself, you can fill it out and keep it as a keepsake in the family. But I have where it's purchased by, and then a line, I gift this book to. You can either say myself, or you gift this book to someone, my quarantine partner, my friend, our family, the one I miss the most.
Right.
So many people are, again, you could fill this out and you could gift it to a grandchild, or you could gift it to just like your best friend who is in another state.
I think it would be
And
great for families just to kind of sit down and because you always think, oh, I'll remember how it felt to be here. I'll remember how everything felt, but you've actually got a way to like enjoy it and record it. What a great gift
and
for families at Thanksgiving
thank
to
you.
take care of and Christmas. That's just great.
And also, it's nice. I actually filled it out with someone. I gifted it. I had somebody who was so helping me move, and she lives with her mother. So I gifted the book to her mother. I filled it out, partially, for her. It has prompts for people who don't journal. It's where do you begin? This
Right.
makes it very easy. And I want to go back to one because I want to reference something. I have a timeline of COVID,
Oh, I
which,
could pull that up on screen if you'd like me to.
well, or I can just show it here.
Yeah, that's great.
And what the shocking thing is, it when you read through it and it says, in January, was it? Wait 1 second. Right. By the end of January 2020, 213 people had died of COVID worldwide.
Now we're
So it's a gentle timeline. It tells you when COVID first got its name. It tells you just about COVID. But as you turn the pages of the book and the numbers change, you really see how this virus really spread across the planet in 4 months. And people are forgetting that, how quickly this happened and how, our lives were impacted. So I have in here the date that you get the book, and I tell you how to go, to the go online to the Johns Hopkins Resource Center and find out the number of cases the day you got the book.
oh wow. I bet you
And
would
then,
be shocked if you compared that to the timeline that you have in the book.
well, I also have on the good news side, I have a part where you can fill in the date a safe and effective vaccine was announced. So I hope that that becomes a part of this story as well. And it it has my favorite really is when the discussion turned to locking down and sheltering in. I went out and bought, and it fills in the blank, right? We all remember that.
Right. Toilet
And we all bought,
paper, Clorox what?
right?
Right.
And then the next part of the journal prompt was there was a mass shortage of, and we all
Everything.
remember what the shortage was of. Then it was the toughest moment for me was, and what I miss the most, and how many people I know who got infected. And I leave a lot of blank spaces open that you can write if you lost someone, or someone is a long hauler. And then I also have on the lighter side my favorite pandemic TV shows I binged, which I almost filled in the first blank. Tiger King.
Oh, I
I
haven't
almost
watched that.
everybody I knew watched it, and it was like this runaway hit,
Right. I do remember
pandemic hit. And it says, I want the next generations to know. And random thoughts, a few pages of random thoughts. And I want to just read the last paragraph, because these unsung heroes of, it's not, the nurses and the frontline workers and the healthcare workers, the unsung heroes are so much a part of the success.
Sure.
Which brings us to a final and most heartfelt expression of gratitude to the patients and their families who agreed to participate in our randomized controlled study, the gold standard requested by the FDA. They all enrolled in this trial, knowing there was a 50% chance of receiving the stem cell treatment and a 50% chance of receiving a placebo. We honor their courage and willingness to sacrifice in order to contribute to science and help end this devastating pandemic.
That's beautiful. So tell us where we can find you online.
Oh, this is great. It's easy. Find me at www.scruffybook.com.
Fantastic. And the
It's
Cure
very
Alliance?
easy. The Cure Alliance is www, one word, thecurealliance.org.
Thank you so much for joining us today. It has been wonderful getting to know you. I'm really thankful that Tom Martin introduced us. I appreciate that a lot.
Thank you,
Scruffy is
Tom.
Scruffy is an amazing book. And if you've liked this episode, please smash the like button. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. This is Missy saying stay happy.